We have a nice team of bumper horses, very smart. In fact, bit of a puzzle is one who's obviously been a dual bumper winner for you. She looks a really smart mare.
Yeah, she is, and surprised us really, because to look at, she wouldn't be a bumper horse. She won a 3-mile maiden at Arkle last February, and we decided that, well, with the conditions as they were, soft ground, we knew she'd stay. We'd send her to Bangor just purely for experience as much as anything, and she won well that day. So the Huntingdon bumper, valuable bumper, was thankfully rearranged, and we were able to go there, and she kept progressing. So she's on an upward curve, and we'll take her to Sandown the weekend before the festival for another valuable mare's bumper, and see how we go there, and potentially then on to Aintree. But no, Noel said she's a really nice type that's going to keep improving, and she's a nice, big, strong stamp of a mare.
She sounds versatile from what you've been describing, her background being a point winner, but then some of the tracks she's won at pretty sharp, so she'd have the speed for Aintree.
Well, we'll see. Definitely, the ground has played to her strengths and made it more, put the emphasis on stamina. But we can't fault what she's done so far, so long may it continue.
Zulu Oscar, I was going to ask you about, because we were looking forward to seeing him at Newbury.
Yeah.
What's the plan for him?
He's ready to run over hurdles. It's just typical, as always with horses. They time it to a T, and pulled him out to load him onto the box, and he was slightly lame. So we'd let him get over that. Nothing too serious, thankfully. And he'll be hurdling. There's probably one blessing. The ground might have dried out a bit, which will suit him by the time he is ready to run again in about 3 or 4 weeks. He'd run at Chepstow the time before on good ground, which he needs. He needs more cut than that, but he learnt plenty, and he's a very exciting horse, and another one of ours that started in the point-to-point field with Richard last spring. And it's a route that works well for us, and we're looking forward to taking him back to Newbury on the 8th of Feb for the listed bumper.
He looks a real forward-going, athletic, keen sort.
He is. We've had him here since he was a 2-year-old, and he was hard work to break in, to say the least. We had to break him in, I think, about 3 times, but some of those good horses had that bit of quirk about him, and Patience has persevered so far, and he jumps for fun, so we can't wait to get him hurdling next season and then chasing the following year.
Is Newbury the main aim, the listed bumper? After that, will he sort of be put away? Or?
Well, we'll see how we go there. To be honest, we're treating that as his main target, definitely, because we know the track suits. He's more likely to get his ground. It's all systems go for the 8th. We planned to take him to Ascot for the listed bumper they had just before Christmas, but he just picked up a bit of a niggle, so he's been on the quiet list, but he's absolutely fine now, and some of the owners would quite like to go to Cheltenham with him, but that would be another big step up for him. We'll get him back to his best first and go from there, but he'll stay in bumpers this season so we can have a full season novice hurdling next year.
When I saw him at Newton Abbot, he looked like a sharp bumper horse. He's got gears. So how would he fit amongst your bumper horses?
Yeah, he'd be fairly high up the pecking order, obviously. Oscar as well. We do particularly well with those. That would be a big ask if we went to Cheltenham, but we'll have to see. He'll tell us whether he's ready or not. But he's a nice young horse, and again has done lots of jumping, and be exciting novice hurdler for next season. He's done nothing but please us. We only got him about 8 weeks before that run, so we've given him a bit of a break, bit of a chance to strengthen up, and he's doing that all the time, and we're looking forward to taking him to Kempton at the end of Feb for the Adonis, and that will tell us whether we're going to go for the Triumph or possibly wait for Aintree if we're good enough. But what he showed us that day at Newbury, I know Paul thinks an awful lot of his winner that day, so we're looking forward to seeing him out again. And he's a lovely horse. He jumps for fun. He's actually our only juvenile, but if they're that good, that one's enough.
He's got quite a taking attitude. Just seeing him here, he looks quite mature, which is what you need, I suppose, for a young horse like that, if he were to run in something like the Triumph or in the 4-year-old at Aintree. Yeah,
exactly. He's come over from France, so he's obviously done plenty over there, although having only run once, and done lots of schooling, which is key, especially with the juvenile hurdlers. But no, we couldn't be more pleased with him, and he's a lovely horse.
You seem to be doing very well with your young mares, and we've got Blue Buttons, who's got form with Centasia, and then a nice horse of Fergal O'Brien's, and she looks really progressive over hurdle.
She is, and another one that's on a rapidly upward curve. We didn't think we'd ever get black type with her, and she's only but for a neck. She's got that black type in the listed hurdle at Taunton last time out, and we're going to go for another listed novice hurdle, mare's novice hurdle at Sandown on, I think it's the 14th of Feb. So she'll hopefully keep progressing the way she is. She won't be too far away in that either.
That Taunton race, I know that looks strong form, really.
Yeah, the third horse, as I am, she had quite a few runs in leading up to that, so possibly wasn't at her best. But Down Ace is a nice horse that actually beat Blue Buttons by about 20 lengths at Bangor last May in a bumper. So Blue Buttons shows how far she's come over the summer. They were talking about taking the winner possibly to Cheltenham for the mare's hurdle. So shows how highly they regard her.
And as far as long term, you mentioned Sandown, there's Newbury as well. Yeah,
there is. Whether if we do well in these listed novice hurdles, we'll probably be handicapped out of the Newbury final by then. But no, we'll see. That's obviously a logical aim, and we'll work away and see if we can see what we can pick up on the way.
But obviously very pleased with her.
Oh, delighted. She jumps fun. She's not over big, but like some of the mares, if they try and they're gutsy, that's all you can ask for. Well, he'd won 6 points on the bounce before joining us in the summer, and now he's won 3, and he just keeps, every time we step him up a grade, he just keeps answering the question. And obviously delighted to win at Cheltenham. We went there to sort of make up our minds where we went for the rest of the season. Firstly, whether we were good enough to be thinking festival, and secondly, what sort of race we should be aiming at. I think he's pretty much favourite for the National Hunt Chase at the moment, over 4 miles. Will Biddett obviously knows him so well, so we've got the best amateur potentially available. But then obviously we got the RSA. He'll be given an entry this week, and keep our options open.
We saw him on. It was absolutely bottomless at Cheltenham last time. Does he need to have that? What's his point form on?
No, he's won in those conditions, pointing. He needs to go left-handed, but Will's always maintained, and we've seen that in his pointing days, that he's better on better ground, good to soft is ideal for him. Just helps him with his jumping.
He's a son of King's Theatre, but to look at him here today, he's a big, imposing sort, lovely, strong shoulder, deep girth. He's a real man.
Oh, he is, and it's taken him till now to really fill his frame. Credit to the owners; they've been very patient and sent him back pointing, having not initially gone to plan over hurdles in his one hurdle run. But sometimes that's what they take, these chasers, staying chasers. They need that bit of patience, and I'm very grateful that the owners have given him that and decided to let me train him.
Will's here today, but he's not actually on him. He's just coming past us now, but he's got one of the lasses on him and tells me that he's a lovely ride, but he's quite strong. He can take a handful to hold. He just, he's a powerhouse. Will says he's great to ride because he just travels all the time. He jumps, travels, and he's able to ride impatiently because he can over that sort of trip he can travel into the race and put him in at any time he wants. So that's a big asset, and another exciting novice chaser. He's a lovely big horse that's going to keep getting better and better, he won very nicely at Newbury, and the form has worked out well. The horse back in third, I think, has come out and won last week at Newbury, beating Dart Love of APs and John Joe's. It'll be he's a very exciting horse to have in the yard, and we won't see him now probably until Cheltenham for possibly a tilt at the JLT novice chase. It's been soft, as we know, throughout most of the winter, and his form in France. Does he need to have cut, do you think, to be at his best, or not?
I think, he's a big horse. He appreciates cut in the ground, but the tongue tie made a big difference, and that'll be key to his success moving forward.
And as far as the festival's concerned, are you looking at the JLT? Which race?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the JLT, the Juicen as it was. So that we think that, I mean, that was 1.5 at Newbury the other day. We see him as a 2.5, possibly further in time. But Noel's delighted with him. He does everything nicely, and as I said, he's an exciting horse to have in the yard. He went from overnight we were quietly minding our own business at home, ticking away with him, and Delarka went and won the Greatwood. Suddenly everyone wanted to know about him, and the spotlight was on us. But no, it's great to have a horse of his profile.
He's got a deep voice, hasn't he, Harry Fry? He's also got a hell of a lot of horses. I counted about 825 horses there, but one we didn't hear about, in fact, is entered tomorrow in the Lightning Novices Chase at Dogstill. We can hear about him now. It's none other than Rock On Ruby.
Plumpton was the starting point, and it was a good experience. Saturday's a big step up, and we've got to improve and progress if we're going to be a serious Arkle contender. But very pleased with them at home. Hopefully we're going to get the conditions. If they get a dry week, we'll be there. And yeah, looking forward to seeing him out. Schooling's gone very well since Plumpton, and no, it's obviously it's a big change of plan for us from the start of the season. To be chasing now, but we've seen that the champion hurdler is looking as competitive as ever, and well, on his evidence of the Plumpton run, we're looking forward to his chasing career.
I guess you've had to plot his campaign around the weather. It's been very wet this winter. I mean, if we got snow at the weekend, let's hope not, will it be a bit of a race against time? I mean, he needs one more run, certainly, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, we need to get that experience into him. I mean, we are in the hands of the weather, that's for sure, as with all of them at the moment. But no, experience is key, and we need to get at least one more run in. And well, I mean, if it is, then we have to go back to the drawing board. But at the moment, it's full steam ahead.
Having said that, though, he has got experience on his side as far as maturity, Cheltenham itself, which he clearly loves. Yeah. And he jumps seemingly so well. Is that the case at home?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, obviously we did plenty of schooling before his debut to make sure that we were 100% happy. And I mean, it will be a case of sucking and see it with the weather. But as you say, he's got a great record at Cheltenham in March, and it seems to be his time of year, and he's just coming right again now.
You were sizing up the opposition, looking ahead to the champion hurdle, early days. Boy, that race has turned into the hottest race of the festival. Have you had a look to the Arkle and the likely candidates? What do you make of that race?
Well, I mean, you've got Willie Mullins has got a strong team, as you expect. Sounds like I think. Was it Phoenix Younger would probably be his main challenger, reading between the lines, and Champagne Fever possibly going up in trip. Pool's obviously got a couple, Hinterland and Dodging Bullets. So I mean they're all done well so far. I mean the only thing we will say, if we can get anywhere near our best hurdle form, we set a very high standard if we can translate that to fences. But obviously they're young and progressive as well, and it'll be exciting, that's for sure.